Yeah, that sucked so much. That was terrible. That was actually like that sucked. That was so bad. So bad. We're gonna get into all of it. Oh, miserable, man, because we were good, but then we were bad, and we did it all without Lamine and Flick, but we didn't do it. And Atleti did terrible. They looked terrible. And then finally brought on Sorloth, which they should have done the entire game, and it all worked out, obviously, because that's what happens to us and to you and to me, because, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, La Liga is not over. So stop crying. Madrid is very inconsistent. This is big for Atleti. They're going to go, into the winter, probably top of the table. Good for them. It's unfortunate for us, and, or no, they're definitely going to be top of the table. It is what it is, though. You know what I mean? I really, really don't think this is the end of the world. I think Atleti, we saw so many flaws in their game today. They were able to pull it out. I think they're very lucky that they pulled it out. They really shouldn't have. I think we should have put that game to sleep. We should have never gotten to that situation where we were sending everyone up forward and Sorloth could do whatever he wanted, but it got to that point, and we're going to, talk about the good of that match, because there is a lot of good that I saw. There's a lot of bad and annoying and a mess, but the first half went, I think, pretty swimmingly for us. I think we easily could have scored 2, even 3 goals. We were creating a lot. Atleti had 0 XG. We're not threatening in any way, more or less, and it was all Barcelona pretty much the entire time, except a breakaway at the very end where Koundé fell asleep a little bit and Galan got a lot of space over on the left wing. I think Inigo made a really good clearance there, and Inigo had a fantastic game. I think he was really good at the back today. But overall, the first half was really good for us, but we should have scored more. And that's the highlight and story of this entire game, because going into the second half, it was the same story. We were creating a lot. Atleti were pressing a little bit more than they were in the first half throughout most of the second half, and then they brought on Sorloth. And I'd said at halftime they needed to do that because they have no guys that are capable of holding it up at all. But now with Sorloth up there, they could just boot it up to him, and it's incredibly easy for him to just control it because he's 8 inches taller than Kubarsi and Inigo or something like that. So, of course, that's what happened, and it worked out very well, and they created some chances, but really nothing. And they should have never gotten the opportunity to do so because we should have put this game to sleep. We created so many chances, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out in ways we're going to get into in the ratings right now. Starting with Iñaki Peña, SofaScore gives him a 6.6, and it's easy to do that when you look at the stats. I think there were 3 shots, and they scored 2 of them, or 3 big chances, or 3 chances, or no, 3 shots, and they scored 2 of them. That's not the whole story. He came out of the box a lot, cleared it well, was decent on the ball, and he made a really good save. I think it was technically offside, but it was a good save. It was close too. I don't know if it was clearly offside either. I think he played really well. I don't think either one of the goals were his fault at all in any way. I think they were either good finishes or you have such a low percentage chance at making saves in those situations that it's unfortunate. I think Oblak, on the other hand, was the greatest he's ever been in his entire life. Like, literally, this is 2017 Oblak. It's ridiculous. He was so good today. He made so many insane saves. Was it him or was it us? But then after Peña, it gets a little bit more of a conversation. I think Koundé and Balde were having more of a position or a job in the attacking buildup. They were putting in really good runs in the first half, specifically Koundé. I think Koundé was really good offering options for Raphinha, opening up space for Raphinha and helping Raphinha be very good in that first half in creating stuff as a winger, which he normally doesn't do and is my biggest criticism of him all the time. I think Koundé was good today. Again, he did fall asleep a little bit at one point in the first half, but more or less, I think he deserves a 7. I think he was good. I think he gave a lot of good options, put a couple really good crosses in there that didn't find its way into the net, which we're definitely going to get into. But otherwise, I think Koundé had a solid game. Kubarsi, for those of us that watched it, that cross from Sorloth or from Molina to Sorloth at the end went right through his feet, his legs. It shouldn't do that. And they scored. Again, I don't think it's the defense's fault that we lost this match. I think they played well. I think Kubarsi and Inigo had a really good game today. Inigo didn't really make any mistakes. Kubarsi made that one at the end where he needed to clear that, but I think he still had a good game overall. I'm going to give him a 6.5 just because of how terrible that last result was. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then Inigo, I think he had a really good game. I'm going to give him an 8. I think he was good on the ball. He was consistently saving us. He saved us a few times, and I think he was really good. And I don't think it's fair to criticize him. I don't think it's fair to criticize any of these guys for their defensive work. just because they were pushing so much up at the end there. That's kind of what happens. I don't know if they should have been doing that as much. Balde I will criticize, though, for not tracking back at the end there. He was either gassed or didn't want to. I'm going to assume he was gassed. He played the entire game, obviously, so he's probably gassed. I'm still upset at him for it. He maybe opened up some space, made it easier for him. And that's something I see from him a lot. He doesn't always track back, but I think it's unfortunate. I think he was really good in the first half. Once Atletico really sat back in the second half, which is what they did after they scored, literally there was like 9 of them in the box. It was rat FIFA tactics, what was going on from Simeone. I'm not surprised, but I'm annoyed as the opponent. Like, it's annoying to watch. I get it, but it's still annoying. And Balde could not find any space. He never wants to take a man on and try to beat somebody when he doesn't have a great option, so he ends up just passing it back. Yeah, it was very not creative when Ferran Torres came on too on the left side there from him and Balde. They just didn't link up that well. I think it was unfortunate, but Balde probably deserves about a 6.5 for the same reason. I'm going to give him a 6 because I think he was worse than Kubarsi. And then the midfielders, I think Castro was okay. I don't think this was his best game. I think he won the ball back a couple times, was okay on the ball, made a couple really good passes over to Pedri. But I think he was overshadowed a lot by Pedri. So for Castro, I'll just give him a 6.5 because I don't think he did anything outstandingly poor, but he didn't necessarily save us in ways or be consistent enough. And he had to be taken off at one point. I think we probably could have kept him on, but Eric Garcia actually had a decent game when he came on. Pedri was fantastic. Pedri is the light of my life, was actually incredible. The goal he scored with Gavi was ridiculous. He passed it into Gavi. Gavi like collected it and spun around, and it kind of was a little bit of a fortunate bobble, but Pedri collected it and made a fantastic finish. And honestly, could have had another goal or two, and maybe you could argue should have had. But I think he deserves the 9. He deserves my man of the match for Barcelona. Oblak is easily the man of the match for Atleti, but I think he was great. I think he was really good. He was the creative outlet, played insane passes over to Raphinha that unfortunately did not end up in the net somehow. Too many times, and that's the big problem with what was going on today. Now moving up to the attackers today, I think Firmino was okay. I think he was the worst player for Barcelona in the first half. That doesn't mean he was bad. He hasn't got a lot of playtime this year. He isn't necessarily a left winger, even though he's played there in the past. So he wasn't that good, though. I'm going to give him a 6 just because he didn't do anything spectacular. But he was pressing pretty well, did link up pretty well a couple times. It just didn't really come to anything significant. Gavi got that assist to Pedri on the back. There was a couple of Brexit tackles there. He was pretty good. It was a good time to see a lot more minutes from Gavi. I think he only played like 65, but he looked good. I think he deserves a 7 easily for that assist to Pedri and just for the general nature of his play today. I think it was very good. Raphinha, I think, was fantastic as well as Pedri. Raphinha got into some fantastic positions, created a lot on the wing in ways that we haven't really seen him. He created space for himself with the help of Koundé and got some really good crosses in, tried to use his right foot a little bit. That didn't work out so much, but still was generally pretty good. It didn't matter. He missed 2 or 3 chances one-on-one with the keeper, and Oblak made good saves. Raphinha needs to score at least one of them. That's the problem. That's why we didn't win. Him and Lewandowski are the reason we didn't win. They needed to finish the chances. They both had a plethora of chances. I think Raphinha was better than Lewandowski, but not good enough. 6.5. It doesn't matter. He needs to score in these situations. And then he did give that ball away at the end. That led to the Atleti counterattack. It wasn't a good pass, so I could probably be critical of him there, but Lewandowski was significantly worse. He missed a sitter that Ferran Torres probably should have just taken himself, but if he missed, everyone would have screamed at him anyway, so whatever. Lewandowski had a really good opportunity right in front of net a couple times and didn't come out with it. Didn't do anything significant. I'm going to give him a 4. I think he was fine. I really don't think he was good, though. And if he's not finishing his chances, bring on Pau Victor. Like, there's no reason for Lewandowski to be in this game if he's not finishing, because that's the argument for him over Pau or Ferran Torres being our striker. Both of those guys can't finish either, really, or don't finish necessarily as much as you'd expect from Lewandowski, but Lewa didn't do it today, and I think that's the reason we lost. He needed to put those couple of those shots in, and so did Raphinha. It's the same story as the last match. I can't believe we lost this game. It's ridiculous. I don't think we deserved to. They played really well. I think Atleti were very mid. They tackled themselves on Pedri's goal. They were poor. They were sitting back like rats. Like, okay, that's kind of what happens. Like, I'm not blaming them for that. It's upsetting to watch as a Barcelona fan, but I understand it. I just don't think they were good. I don't think they were spectacular. I think the entire strategy at the end of the match was booted up to Sorloth and see what happens from there. And it worked out. DePaul's goal was unfortunate from Castado too. I forgot about that. Castado kind of just tried to clear it, but cleared it right into the path of DePaul in not a good way. He needs to just boot that out. And DePaul puts a really good finish on it, which is why I don't think it's Inyaki's fault. It was such a great finish through bodies. It's unfortunate, but I just don't think they were good. I think they gave the ball away a lot. They couldn't connect passes for most of the game. They were fouling Barca like crazy. And yeah, I don't. It sucks, guys. I think the subs were okay. I think Dani Olmo was good too. He had a couple really clean moves, but there was so many guys in the box. It's so difficult to play the way Dani Olmo does when there are so many people in the box. But I think he was better. I'll give him a 6.5. Ferran Torres, I'll give him a 6.5 as well. I'll give him a 6 because they were creatively not great on the left side. He did put that good. I think he headed the ball down to Lewandowski that Lewa ended up completely whiffing at, which he did a couple of times, but he was fine. Eric Garcia was fine as well. I would give him a 6.5. I think he was okay. We were worried about it. There were a couple like heavy touches and everything, but generally defensively he was okay. He bodied Sorloth a couple times that made it difficult for Sorloth to collect it, which is not an easy task. But overall, guys, this sucked. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Like I started this video saying, we need to remember that. I don't think La Liga is forgotten here. I don't think this Atleti team is good enough to win the league or to run away with the league. I'll say that. I think they're good enough to win the league. I don't think they're good enough to run away with it. They've been lucky to pick up points at the very last few minutes in the last couple of matches like they did today. And that's good for a team if that wants to win La Liga, but it's also not convincing me that they deserve to win La Liga or that they're going to run away with it. And Madrid are the same exact story. They're not necessarily winning points at the end, but they're not going to run away with anything. They have too many injuries. They're playing in too many competitions. It is going to be very difficult for either of these teams to do that. We'll see what happens going forward. I'm just very, very upset, man. I think we deserved more than that today. I'll touch on that handball from the ref too. I don't think the ref had a terrible day. I don't think he had a great day. He kind of let play run on a couple times in weird situations, made some questionable choices, but the handball in the box, it definitely hits, Simeone's hand. It's not a pen. It's not. The ball is just going away from Barcelona players. There's no one behind Simeone. It's not going to be anything. It's not preventing anything from Barcelona. It actually wins them a corner. They wouldn't have won the corner otherwise. So I don't think it's a pen. And I just think this team should have scored 3-4 goals against Atleti, and then they would have never got the opportunity for Sorloth to score there because they could just sit back and pass it around them. Their press wasn't good enough today to win the ball back there. And also, guys, real quick, I'm going to have a Q&A on the second channel sometime this week. So if you guys want to leave questions, I'll pin a comment. Just respond to that with whatever you have. If you have questions about me, about Paisley, or how to run a YouTube channel, or what I plan on doing on my channel, or about Barcelona, whatever it is, leave it down there. Ask it to me, and I'm gonna answer it on the channel in a few days. So thank you for watching. It is what it is. Visca Barça. I'll see you all later. Peace.